Is it a big game if no one's really here to see it? I'm Brad Brown in Bloomington. Purdue and IU on what should be a strange night at Assembly Hall. We'll begin our coverage coming up.
Paying more to light up, the push to increase the state's cigarette tax. Who's behind the effort and why?
People are still writing it off. And that's what gets my heart. Why are they writing it off? Until you see a loved one physically die in front of you, you don't understand.
His dad survived one round of COVID-19 only to lose this second hard-fought battle. Honoring a life well lived through the words of a loved one.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5, streaming now.
And now first at 5, despite the sun and mild temperatures today, changes are on the way. Clouds are already moving in and rain is next.
And then some snow. The Indy Snow Force will be out starting at 11 o'clock to treat the roads to prepare.
Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is here with the timing of what's ahead. Hey, Kevin.
We've got a lot to talk about. We'll transition from these last 2 days where we've been well into the 40s. We still sit at 45 right now with cloudy skies, but we'll trade in the 40s for the 30s over the next several days. We're dry here for the next couple of hours, but you can see off to the west in central Illinois a line of rain. That will move to the east. Then back behind that across Iowa, you begin to see some of the snow. Let's talk about rain showers first. This evening, the rain chances are low. As we get to, say, 9 to 11 o'clock, that's when the rain becomes most likely, a little earlier western portions of the state. These showers develop. Temperatures will be fairly steady, still in the low 40s at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. As I show you the progression of these showers to the east, I think they'll thin out a little bit. We're not expecting heavy rainfall. There are the showers moving to the east between 9 and 11, and we may mix in a melting snowflake or two in the western portion of the state. When we wake up, some spotty snow showers, that begins the story for your Friday. The headlines for Friday include snow showers, and these may at times be locally intense. They would reduce visibility, potentially provide a quick cover on the roadways, and that would lead to some slick conditions. We'll talk about the most likely hours for that to happen Friday. That's coming up in just a bit.
We will see you in just a few minutes, Kevin. Thank you. It is one of the big nights every year on the state's basketball calendar. Purdue and IU playing tonight in Bloomington, and this is sure to be a unique chapter in the rivals' long history. WRTV's Brad Brown is live at Assembly Hall to begin this evening's coverage of the Boilermakers and the Hoosiers. Hey, Brad.
Mark, thanks. Here we are tonight here in Bloomington. Normally a couple hours before tip-off, there'd start to be some buzz brewing here around Assembly Hall. There might be a few thousand students lined up ready to get their seats in the student section here inside Assembly Hall, but tonight there will be none of that as we get set for the tip-off between the Boilermakers and the Hoosiers. There is another headline involving IU. Sunday's game at Michigan State has been postponed. The Spartans having some positive COVID-19 results within their program, so they're going to have to sit out a few days, so that one will be rescheduled. Purdue's game against Ohio State, which was supposed to be back on the 29th, has been moved up to the 19th. It's all over the place right now. What we do know is this game will be played here tonight. We'll talk more about this one tonight on the news at 6. Some IU connections regarding the Pacers, of course. Victor Oladipo, the big news of the trade yesterday, heading to Houston. Nothing's been made official yet, but all the pieces are starting to fall into place as Oladipo's 3+ years with the Indiana Pacers seem to be done. He made quite the impact in his time with the blue and gold, an infectious, always a ton of positive energy, so many memorable shots at the Fieldhouse. It's clear, though, his injury a couple years ago changed his game. We're still not sure he's 100% back from that. Bottom line, though, probably comes down to money. Vic is a free agent this summer, likely to be a $20 to $25 million a year guy, and way more than the Pacers probably had in mind. Now, Oladipo will be pairing up with another former IU player. Eric Gordon is in his 5th season with Houston, his 13th NBA season. Hard to believe it's been that long for the former Indiana Mr. Basketball from North Central High School. He is averaging 14 points per game this season so far. The Pacers in return will soon see Karis LeVert wearing their colors. His 5th year in the league, all with the Nets. He struggled with a couple of injuries the past 2 years, but has been a steady performer when he's been 100%. University of Michigan grad, should eventually end up in the starting lineup opposite Malcolm Brogdon in the backcourt. everybody kind of saying the Pacers got a pretty good deal out of this. ESPN rated them a B+ out of this deal. Well, the Rockets, the Nets as well. And we will see how that all pans together over the course of the next few days. Now, there is another note about the Pacers here in the span of about the last 30 minutes. A COVID-19 postponement of their own. Saturday's game in Phoenix against the Suns has been put on hold. Positive results among the Phoenix roster and within their staff as well. So that one will be out of the loop. Pacers play in Portland tonight. They're also on the road out west on Sunday, wrapping up this road trip before they come back home next Wednesday night. The NBA, again, struggling with some of these health and safety protocols. We will see how they fall together over the course of the next several days. So we will talk more about that later tonight. Coming up tonight on the news at 6, though, we get back to it. The Boilermakers and the Hoosiers. Going to be a good one here tonight in IU. But no one will be here to see it but us. We'll talk about that. We'll hear from both head coaches, some of the players as well. We'll see you then. Live in Bloomington, Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
And that's why we're so thankful for you, Brad. 24 healthcare organizations have sent a letter to Governor Holcomb asking him to prioritize a cigarette tax increase this year. Indiana ranks 41st in the country for overall health, a vulnerable position, health experts say. In the midst of a global pandemic, 1 in 5 adult Hoosiers smoke, which is one of the highest smoking rates in the country. Indiana's cigarette tax rate is below the national average. Advocates are asking lawmakers to increase the cigarette tax by $2 per pack. It has been 14 years since we've last raised the cigarette tax. In that time, state and local governments have raised the cigarette tax dozens of times. The more unhealthy our state is, pediatric doctor Emily Scott says, has an impact on all of us in terms of our health care costs.
If somebody smokes, then they are more likely to have heart disease, or they're more likely to have lung disease. And then if they get COVID on top of that, that is just devastating for them. So our population in Indiana is starting at an unhealthier baseline when they get COVID, and that has serious implications for all of us.
If we generate more revenue through this tax increase, advocates say, we can use that money elsewhere, as Indiana ranks 48th in the country for the amount of money we dedicate to public health funding. The current cigarette tax rate is 99.5 cents per pack, so the proposal would increase the rate to $3 per pack. That would be just 2 cents higher than Illinois's $2.98 per pack cigarette tax.
Tens of thousands of Hoosiers are signing up to get the vaccine to protect against COVID-19, including more than 125,000 people ages 70 to 79 who scheduled their appointments yesterday on their first day of eligibility. You can continue to sign up at ourshot.in.gov or by calling 211. And new numbers shared by the state today show at least 238,800 people have received their first dose of the vaccine, and more than 48,400 are fully vaccinated. The state also reported just more than 4,400 new positive cases of the virus. Those results were all recorded yesterday. We've lost 40 more Hoosiers to COVID. Those deaths occurred between December 31st and yesterday. The statewide total is more than 8,800 deaths since the middle of March. That's 8,800 families who have watched as their loved ones lost the battle to this devastating virus. We want to remember and pay tribute to those who have lost their lives to COVID-19. We're sharing stories about who they were and the legacies they leave behind. Today, our Alyssa Donovan shares the story of Ralph Rutan.
My daddy was proud of everything that he built.
Especially the home he shared with his late wife.
Everything that my mama ever wanted, it had to be red and white.
Including the house, which is filled with photos of the happy life Ralph and Catherine Rutan built together.
They were married 58 years. And she made sure to put up pictures everywhere. Mom and Dad, my brother and sister.
Ralph was a religious man who enjoyed gospel music, playing guitar, and studying the Bible.
He would sit there, and if you would ask about, how did God create, or tithing, or anything like that, Dad would automatically pull out his book and say, well, here's the scripture.
Christopher Rutan, their youngest son, now lives in the Columbus home, along with his father's dog, Fred.
I've taken ownership of him. He's still going to get fat and sassy. One chicken? I think it's still hard on him to realize Dad is gone. There you go. There's a big void.
Ralph died of COVID-19 on December 28th, just one day after his 79th birthday. Rutan says his father had COVID-19 2 times. In July, he tested positive for the virus and recovered. But when he fell ill in November, it was more serious.
And that's where the horror story began. My dad continued to go downhill.
After weeks in the intensive care unit, Ralph was well enough to return home, just in time to spend Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with his family.
And I think that's the last thing he really wanted to do, was see his family.
But the day after, something wasn't right, so RUTAN brought him back to the hospital.
And they said he has pneumonia.
Ralph suffered a stroke and died the next day. The loss, devastating.
I watched my daddy die. I watched him take his last breath.
But RUTAN finds comfort when he steps out onto the porch, because just across the street from their beloved home, his parents' final resting place.
They're in lot number 91. They're right by the tree.
Well, at least the one on Earth.
I knew my mom went to heaven. I knew he went to heaven, and I knew they were together, and that's what he wanted.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
Thousands of Hoosiers have died since the coronavirus pandemic began, and we are asking for your help to put names and faces to numbers. If you've lost someone close to you, connect with us. We want to share their story so that those taken from us are never forgotten. You can reach us at facesofcovid@WRTV.com.
With less than a week until President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration, federal authorities are ramping up security and warning of violent threats in Washington and in all 50 states. The threats coming as authorities continue to make arrests and investigate last week's attack on the Capitol. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has the latest from Washington.
Thousands of National Guard members patrolling D.C. streets. Up to 20,000 armed guardsmen expected to be in place by next week.
There are more troops right now in Washington, D.C. than in Afghanistan.
Authorities are warning of security threats in all 50 states, too, saying state houses in Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania are of most concern. Some governors closing state houses altogether.
Violence will not be tolerated.
A law enforcement official now tells ABC News this man seen carrying a Confederate flag through the Capitol last week has been arrested. And ABC News has learned the FBI is tracking 2 men who are believed to have taken part in the insurrection at the Capitol and are allegedly planning to come back for another attack in Washington on Inauguration Day. One suspect from North Carolina was allegedly observed loading ammunition boxes and was in possession of semi-automatic rifles, explosives, a gas mask, and bulletproof equipment. Delta Airlines is now prohibiting travelers flying to D.C. airports ahead of inauguration to check firearms, and Airbnb canceling reservations in the city for next week.
We have asked Americans not to come to the Washington, D.C. event.
According to an internal memo obtained by ABC News, the head of the Secret Service is warning his agents to remain above the fray during the zero-fail mission to protect President-elect Biden's inauguration. The tight security measures come as congressional Democrats demand an investigation into their suspicions that some visitors were allowed what they're calling reconnaissance tours of the Capitol the day before last week's attack.
Their accomplices in this House will be held responsible.
And sources tell ABC News there's a preliminary plan to close the iconic National Mall to visitors on Inauguration Day. Just the latest extraordinary security step that'll be in place here. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Governor Holcomb has authorized 625 members of the Indiana National Guard to go to Washington, D.C. to join the security effort ahead of and during the inauguration. A Guard spokesperson said they are scheduled to leave Saturday and return sometime after the inauguration.
All of these blue dots on the map for tomorrow afternoon represent snow showers. We'll connect the dots, tell you what that means for road conditions, and then look toward a colder weekend. The news continues right after this.
Only at Hardee's.
Hiring Hoosiers is WRTV's commitment to keep you informed of job opportunities of all kinds. Today, we learned that a nonprofit, New Hope of Indiana, is looking to hire several dozen people. New Hope provides community-based residential day services and other support to Hoosiers with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The majority of the 50 open positions are in group homes on the northwest and east sides of Indianapolis and Hamilton County. The immediate need is for direct support professionals who will assist the clients with fun activities in addition to daily tasks such as bathing, dressing, cooking, and eating. If you are interested in applying, look for this story at hiringhoosiers.com.
Tonight, President-elect Biden is revealing plans for another round of economic relief once he takes office. We just learned it's a $1.9 trillion coronavirus plan to speed vaccine rollout, steady the economy, and reopen schools. The plan includes $1,400 checks for individuals on top of the $600 provided in the last COVID-19 bill. He's expected to speak about this plan around 7:15. And now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. Kevin, some sunshine today, but it's going to get chillier.
At least it's not an Arctic blast, so I think we can handle this. Amanda, temperatures were in the 40s today. You start thinking about getting out and exercising in January, and you go through the checklist. Temperatures in the 40s, dry conditions, you don't have snow under your feet. All is good today for that. It will become a little more challenging, just breathing in colder air over the next couple of days, and we'll have some snow showers around. The cloud cover continues to lower, and that sets the stage for our rain later tonight. Look at the 50s down along the Ohio River, anywhere from Evansville to Louisville, Covington, the airport over there near Cincinnati, 50 degrees, 45 in Indy. Okay, spiraling into western Indiana, north of Terre Haute toward Warren and Fountain counties, Williamsport, Attica, Covington, Petersburg, some showers. The story becomes tomorrow, and what will happen with these snow showers? They're just like rain showers that develop then as we start to warm things up and you get the air rising. It will rise quickly because there'll be much colder air above ground level, and that helps intensify some of the snow showers, and they'll reduce visibility and may provide a quick cover on the roadways and make those slick. That's despite the fact that our temperatures will be above freezing. The wind still 20 miles per hour at times during the day tomorrow. That would play into the lowered visibility with the more intense snow showers. And again, these will be pockets of snow showers. I don't think we'll have widespread snow covering all of central Indiana at once. There'll be these hit and miss downpours, if you want to call it that, of snow. Temperatures tomorrow, they do climb above freezing, 38 for the temperature. It's warmer than we will be over the weekend, so enjoy that. Temperatures as we move into the afternoon will be steady and then slowly falling after about 3 or 4 o'clock. We'll talk about prime time. 1 to 4 o'clock, you begin to see the pockets of snow showers develop, still around through 7 o'clock, fairly intense in spots, and then we turn it the other way. With the sun having set, we calm things down and we start to see those snow showers slowly disappear. Nothing overwhelming as far as accumulations. What may surprise you is that you just go from no snow at all to a quick cover. If you're out and driving, you'll see those rapidly changing conditions. Over the weekend, temperatures lower to middle 30s. The snow showers around Saturday and on Sunday. Temperatures early next week will start to warm, but Monday is the coldest day in the forecast at 32 degrees. We're up to 39 on Tuesday. Temperatures by Thursday of next week at 46. Warm enough that we'll see some rain showers. Keep our eye on that, changing to some snow, though, as we get to next Friday. Always something to watch. Mark?
And we're watching you. Thanks, Kevin. Now for a quick rundown of other headlines to keep you in the know. Lottery fever continues to grow. No one won last night's Powerball drawing jackpot, so Saturday's prize climbs to $640 million. As big of a prize that is, it's not as huge as tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot. That prize is up to $750 million. I tried last night. I couldn't even get $4.
Well, you put in the effort.
I did.
Mattel has released the latest addition to its inspiring women's series of Barbie dolls. The Dr. Maya Angelou doll is dressed in a head wrap and floral paint-printed dress. Mattel says women in this series were risk takers who changed rules and paved the way for generations of girls to dream bigger than ever before. Angelou's career includes a National Book Award nomination, dozens of honorary doctorates, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Shipments of the dolls will start next month.
And former Jeopardy champion Ken Jennings may be the first guest host of Jeopardy following the death of longtime host Alex Trebek. But he certainly won't be the last. The names of more guest hosts have been released. They include journalist Katie Couric, who will become the first woman to host Jeopardy. Also included NFL quarterback Aaron Rodgers, Big Bang Theory star Maya Malik, and 60 Minutes correspondent Bill Whitaker. Still ahead here on the news at 5, a financial incentive to get the COVID vaccine. How much one company is willing to pay its employees.
Galleries, live life comfortably.
Dollar General is one of the first companies to give its employees a financial incentive to get the COVID vaccine. The Tennessee-based company is offering its employees a deal: get the vaccine and receive 4 extra hours of pay. The company notes its hourly employees face hurdles to getting vaccinated, such as travel time, gas mileage, and childcare needs.
We understand that there may be barriers that our employees could face in terms of getting the vaccine. And so what we wanted to do was help remove those barriers. And so while we're not requiring the vaccine for our employees, we certainly are encouraging them.
Dollar General is not the only business offering an incentive to get the shot. A Texas hospital system with more than 26,000 employees is offering a $500 bonus to workers for getting vaccinated.
A lot of working parents have relied on childcare facilities during the pandemic, but some of those daycares have had a tough time keeping their doors open because of COVID. Ahead and all new at 6 p.m., the new resource that's helping those facilities out.
And next at 5:30, we've all been doing a lot more cooking at home since the pandemic. One local county wants you to take a break to help keep restaurants in business.